Welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave, wishing you a happy and healthy start to this nice little Sunday over here from a very bright actually, Helsinki, Finland. It is nice and 10 degrees Celsius right now, a little bit too hot for myself. And with that said, we got plenty to talk about today with the long-term time frame analysis, as we haven't had a nice weekend to be having a nice long-term time frame analysis since we got the new monthly and quarterly closure. So a lot going to be spoken about today, but we actually will be going over the short-term time frames as well. We'll follow up on the shorts video that I uploaded yesterday. And by the way, I've been getting a lot of comments or messages about these shorts videos. People saying that like they haven't really been getting them on time. I believe the best way to actually get them on time, because those ones are like typically very, very, time sensitive, being that it's usually like very, very short term time from analysis. That's why I typically do them or use them for. You have to be subscribed to the channel, obviously, and then probably do the old bell thing. So there's your fucking hit the bell, subscribe, derpity doo-ba-da and derpity day. And let's get back on into it right now. For the people who happen to give a fuck. Anyways, with that said, on the Krown chain application, what do we see over here? Well, we do see several things, actually. Bitcoin dominance continuing to head up, as we have been saying over the past couple weeks, or 2 to 3 weeks now, actually. And I do expect that this will actually continue to head up here, as this is a Bitcoin-led move, whether it goes to the upside or the downside. Bitcoin soaking up alts on the whole, not of course every last single one, but in general, yes. Fear and Greed Index also at about 54, which is the highest level that we have seen in about the last week or so. But realistically, just neutral. So nothing to really be speaking about right there. As far as top 10 best coins go, we see a lot of shit coins on, or actually no, not too many shit coins. Just the top one is the biggest one. But other than that, we got Qtum, Icon, and other than that, looks pretty damn good. I remember that Terra, Arweave, and Tezos and Herderpa Hashgraph were looking especially good this past week, and actually Solana pulling it through as well. So let's go into the market data tab over here. And a few things of interest. Now, this is obviously what we're going to talk about right here is in no way, shape, or form actionable at this exact moment, but I would keep a keen eye on this right here. I really put a lot of faith in this quant statistics and quant data over here. It really needs, in the context of like an actual long-term strategy. You really do need to understand like flows. You need to understand the underlying market dynamics, which is all represented right here. And then also, even just a basic understanding of technicals is going to probably propel your game quite a fair bit. Anyways, with that said, the global leverage ratio continuing to creep up here. It's still not in the critical areas that we have seen, major, massive moves typically to the downside actually occur from, but it is of interest, especially as open interest starts to come back up again. So we do see, while Bitcoin had a pretty nice move off 40,000 bucks or so, a lot of people are leveraging up once again, which this market, the more and more that I kind of get involved with it over the years, the more and more that I believe that these massively over leverage exchanges, which, massive leverage makes sense in Forex because like things trade in not one increments, whereas Bitcoin trades in like fucking thousands of dollars within like an hourly range, right? Is just ridiculous. And of course, that's why we do get, or a part of the reason why we do get these massive swings. That and a lack of liquidity is the name of the game right now. Anyways, global funding rate ever so slightly positive. That would be a little bit more on the boolah-ish side right here, as we don't really see it exaggerate or anything like that. But realistically, inconsequential data going on right there. And then of course, the exchange's net flows has been consistently negative, although for the last 24 hours, ever so slightly positive, but not really consequential. I also want to bring you over here as well, the hash rate, as we did identify, I believe, on Thursday and Friday. This was one of the more bullish things, obviously. Should have paid a little bit more attention to it myself, obviously. But there is a general notion, if you understand the underlying market dynamics, that hash rate typically does lead price action, actually. That is, the main component of the hash ribbons indicator, the one that I was kind of using to say that the macro low is very likely in. The question is, how long do we spend within this region right here? How long, meaning Bitcoin, within like the mid 30 to upper 40s region. Anyways, with that said, hash rates are recovering back to same levels that we saw before the old China ban, actually. Way back on over here since basically early May, in fact. So that is a good thing. That is actually a very, very good thing. Whale ratio also headed down as well. So technically speaking, or theoretically speaking, less potential sell pressure on price action. So with all of that said, let's get into the price action charts right now. We're going to start off with the shorter term timeframes today because I haven't really had a good chance to go over this just yet, but we'll make it kind of quick on the short-term time frames, and then get on to the long-term stuff, which I think is a lot more compelling right now. Anyways, very simply put on the daily, or sorry, on the let's actually go down to the 4 hour right here. Yesterday's video, or sorry, I put up 2 shorts yesterday. One of them being a Bitcoin focused one, and one of them being an Ethereum focused one. Essentially on Bitcoin, I said I'd be looking for a bit of a range, probably test the downside of the range. I was saying anywhere down to about 46 to 46.5, of which we didn't quite get there actually. Looks like we got down to about 47 or so. But with that said, going sideways within this region is good, and very likely does lead towards continuation early this coming week. In this case, technical target's going to be somewhere around about $50,000. Our last sort of major rejective and just catastrophic, pullback. No, devastating downside move that we saw way back on over here. Also consistent in around the 786 Fibonacci retracement as well. Currently pinned right around the 618. If you are looking at this as bearish right now, which I wouldn't necessarily say this is immediately bearish right now, obviously, but that's typically where you would be looking for your lower highs. And to be fair, this is, for what it's worth right now, a lower high on the lower term timeframes, however, not necessarily on CME. So I am kind of more angled, especially early this coming week, for Bitcoin to probably put in a move to about $50,000. If you're looking for Bitcoin to come down, that's probably about the area that I'd be a little bit more cognizant of. And of course, that comes with a contingency on the other side, as always. And where is that going to be? The 0.5 right here, right around about 46 to 46,500. In fact, I'm just going to mark it off a little bit lower than that in this case. I do think it'd be better to err on the side of caution. But back below this region right here, let me actually just put a nice little blue box. I'm really starting to hate the fucking doing the old lines over here. It's just sorry, it's just so fucking unimpressive. Anyways, as long as Bitcoin's above here, I don't think that there's any immediate talks of one mega massive bull trap going on right here. Very likely Bitcoin does make a move to about $50,000. With perhaps a pullback as soon as CME opens a little bit later today. That's completely fine. So and then of course yesterday on the Ethereum video, Ethereum and a lot of alts were actually putting in moves yesterday, and we did say a move somewhere into the shallow 3400s. It looks like judging by my charts right now, it looks like we got that, so not bad. So we'll judge maybe a little bit more short-term continuation from there soon enough. Bring up momentum oscillators over here, see what we got going on. I can see that an ever so slight amount of hidden bullish evidence is trying to populate itself on the 4 hour right here. That is not going to be in any way, shape, or form playable as long as Bitcoin is below about 48,300. The same sort of pivots that we were identifying yesterday on the shorts video. On top of that, what do we see over here? BBWP continues to contract. So whenever I see something like that, I'm looking for more of a range than anything else. And in this case, looks like we kind of found the top side of the range in the short term. And we also kind of found the bottom side of the range as well. Again, I really wouldn't mind another move down to about 46.5. The question is, what is the response around there if it does happen? Going down to the hourly as well, which has been incredibly consistent, especially over the weekend, by the way. Actually had some interesting trades yesterday, doing some scalping activity. It was fun. It was a nice little fun day, actually. I usually don't trade over the weekends, but there were some interesting ones going on. Anyways, what do we see over here? We do see that BBWP is starting to expand from the lows, so from quite literally 0 percentile. So what does that essentially imply? Well, we're looking at a move probably intraday today. And when I say a move, I mean outside of the short-term time frame range, which again, very easily put, top side of the range, about 48.3. Bottom side of the range is not right here, actually, because that was in line with the 618. The bottom side of the range is really more like 46.5 or so. So I would be looking for a move somewhere in betwixt there. So with that in mind, if Bitcoin were to break out the top side of the range, 48.3, at that point I probably would be looking for Bitcoin to put in a nice little move, probably early Monday, maybe late Monday or so, somewhere around the $50,000 level, and then we'll come back after that. And there we go. Looks like hidden bullish evidence potentially might get confirmed. Yes, it needs to close above about $48,000, and that would look okay. All right. What else do we want to talk about while we're here? Okay, we got the hourly, we got the bi-hourly. Good. Let's go to the 12-hour. What are we looking for right here as well? Pretty good as well. We do see 12-hour RSI working its way into the bullish control zone. Not bad, especially after being away from it from what do you know, 6th to 7th of September. But this next test in here, well, it probably does spend a little bit of time going sideways there, is on the more good side as well. Daily, what do we see right here? We still see actually daily jewel. Should have paid attention to this one now, shouldn't I have? Coming off the lows right there, pretty damn good, and still remains with its positive curvature. And this is alongside volatility expanding as well. So we don't necessarily have an uptrend just yet on the daily, obviously. I mean, we don't necessarily have a higher high, and we also do not have a higher low as well. Do not consider this a higher low in comparison to this. They need to be like obviously fucking higher. So at some point, whether you're bullish or bearish, if you're bullish, you're probably looking for continuation first and then come back down, setting a higher low somewhere in the mid 40s, probably 46 to 45 if I had to guess. If you're bearish, well, you're looking for it to just crumble on back down below those levels. Anyways, whenever I have a setup like this, I do favor the current potential reversal more. So in this case, what would that essentially imply? Well, we actually need to do this in the reverse format so that I can get this done properly. But let's say that Bitcoin does extend the move first, and we do see a move all the way up to somewhere just north of about $50,000 or so, or just around $50,000. I would be looking for next move down and very likely a higher low, or at least I'd be on higher low watch first thing after that, somewhere around the 382, maybe even as deep as this 0.5. Would not like it if it goes below the 0.5 in this case, however. That would not be strong. That would not be good. And then that would obviously be a long-term bullish setup. There would be no, or at least in my opinion, there would be no targets back down to the mid to low $30,000 territory, as I have been kind of, postulating before, which we can get into soon enough as well. But looking at this right here, this is good for now. This is good for now. And of course, CME, where did it close on Friday? Closed at about 48,400. And did it close on a new high? Pretty much yes, playing out the bullish evidence right there, and daily jewel as well. There's also something that I missed massively on CME this past week, and it was this: the silver cross did not happen on CME. And as always, I do favor CME charts over everything else. Of course, on spot price action, it did happen, and a bit of a fake out right there, obviously. So when you see something like this, when it reclaims major movement averages in this way on the 30th of September especially, that is a pretty damn significant signal that it is going to, well, do something like that. Anyways, shame on me, but at the end of the day, still make mistakes even after some time. All right, cool. Let's see what else we got over here as far as lower term time frame momentum oscillators go, and let's put the picture together then. 4 hour is going to be up as long as above 47,850. Hourly is going to be freshly up actually as long as above 47,500. Buy hourly is showing. Could cross up with a closure above $48,000. And then let's get into the medium-term timeframes. By the way, these close in about an hour from now. 12-hour is doing what? Is way up there and will remain to the upside as long as above 45,750. You can see that that's going to start to crawl up around the $46,000 level. So I do like that level as a major pivot here. And I do think that if Bitcoin starts to crack back down below there, I would be looking for another run at the lows. Not necessarily thinking that that's like the first thing to happen right here. If Bitcoin is going to have another run at the lows, probably extends first if I had to guess, but fair enough. Something to be aware of. Obviously, 10 hours is going to be precipitating that as well, already turning down as long as below about 48,350. And daily is up as long as above 41,350. So looking really, really good right there. Buy daily, which did close. Oh, sorry, actually it's closing tonight, but this is good as well. We do see 42,600 is the magical number, and then 5-day, which did just close last night. So I have to wait another 5 whole days in order for this one to continue onwards and upwards. If it does close above about 48,550, well, that's going to look really, really good, especially with this holding within the bullish control zone. And then on top of that, we also have the weekly as well, which is contrary to that. 51,500 is the magical number right there. So barring any sort of like massive girthy green dildo before end of day, probably not looking at it for this week, but that will naturally come down coming into next week. So something to be aware of, especially for the next week to come. Okay, cool. All right. What do I want to get into now? Are we 13 minutes already? Jesus Christ. Oh boy. Oh boy. All right. Well, I'll try to keep this one a little bit more on the shorter side then, or maybe we don't need to go through like every last little thing. Okay. So again, just kind of wrapping it up right there. If Bitcoin does break the short, hey, wrong one. Bitcoin does break the short-term time frame range to the upside. Probably be looking for a move somewhere around about $50,000. That is your technical target, more or less. Probably like either late today or like middle of day Monday. Probably sometime around that. Sometime around U.S. Open. Let's go over here. Yep. What do you know? A topside Krown band is where $50,000. That is another kind of way of generating that target. Especially coming off of a read like this, right, where you get a first close below, you rejections, then closes inside, boom. First target can be the 20 simple right there. Second target going to be upside of the Trollender bands. Okay, so let's talk about the higher term timeframes now, because I think this is rather interesting. Also, just as an aside, another thing kind of supporting that Bitcoin probably doesn't put in a high right here and probably does continue is that we typically do see a lot of these highs on the PMARP come in, at least above 85 percentile and typically above 90 percentile actually. So we're working our way up there, yes, but not quite there just yet. Okay, so let's go to the weekly. I do want to see this. Yeah, weekly MACD will actually not cross the downside as long as Bitcoin does not close below 42,300, or sorry, 43,000 bucks today. Looking rather likely, but you know, we've all seen crazier things, so fair enough. All right, let's go over here to the monthly. Okay, so there's a few things that I want to be very adamant about on the monthly right here. First and foremost is this. We have gotten a backfill on last month's open. Typically going to be a little bit of a pivot, and of course, when we're talking about a monthly, I mean, you know, this last monthly had a range of like 13,000 bucks, a little bit more than 13,000 bucks actually. So you know, $1,000 up or below, or sorry, above or below the prior open is really fine. In this case right here, we're kind of at that region. 50,000 bucks would still kind of play along with that as well. And there's a very easy way to be playing this one, of course, you know, as it is a doji dildo, and it is on a monthly, so I do think that, you know, it holds some weight here. Basically, if Bitcoin does take out the prior monthly high, I would be looking for a move basically to 63,000 bucks, which is rather interesting because that is the floor model for Plan B's S2F, I believe. By the same token, anywhere below last month's low, basically 40,000 bucks, and I do think that that would be front runnable below about what was it, like 45,000 bucks on a daily. Let's say I would be looking for that correction down to the mid to low $30,000 territory. I actually do not think that that is completely negated just yet. The reason why I say that is because we just got a new quarterly closure, right? And also another reason why I say this, because every time I talk about this, like, people really don't fucking like it. And fair enough, you know, I'm not saying that. It's not like my pleasure to like shit on people's you know, potential ideas and whatnot. It's just you know, understand that, you know, our opinions of things do not influence price action. Buys and sells do, and that's represented in the chart. So usually when your emotions kind of go against something like that, you have like a very strong and stark emotional response. Not the best signal. But you know, a great question to be asking on a video like this today would be: do you think, and maybe even explain like in one sentence why in the comment section? Do you think that Bitcoin will never see below 40,000 bucks again? Because I'd like to show you something right here. So on the quarterly, we have always seen on all quarterly reversals, there's always been a backfill on the prior quarterly open. Where is our quarterly open right here? It is actually 35,000 bucks, to be fair. Doesn't necessarily need to be exactly down there, but around there is fair game. Okay, so let's just prove this for once. We can see over here, our last reversal to the upside was in January. You backfill right here on the next successful one. Doesn't necessarily always need to be that, by the way. Good. All right, sweet. And then upwards and onwards we go. Lovely. And again, a very easy doji to be playing on this one as well, which would also imply that if we were to take out the last quarterly low, which I do not think is happening actually, or at least if it does, that would be massively concerning. Probably looking at a massive reversal. And by the way, just as we explained this past week, or in the week precipitating this as well, a quarterly closure anywhere around 44,000 bucks looks really good for end of year. So everything that I'm talking about right now comes within the context of, essentially, I'm probably looking at new all-time highs before end of year. I still think that cycle highs are probably somewhere between about 110 and 130,000 bucks, and we can go over that maybe a little bit later as well, or perhaps in a different video. Anyways, okay, so yes, you see the backfill right there, beautiful. You're probably gonna say, but Krown, we didn't see a backfill over here. We didn't, you're right. Not on the next dildo, but we did exactly fucking right here, huh? Where does that low come in around? Basically 3,800. Where is this open around? 3,700. Close enough, close enough, beautiful. And by the way, on this reversal over here, where do we backfill? It's not the next one, doesn't need to be. Right here, right fucking there. This is incredibly consistent, actually. Do we see a backfill over here? Yes, obviously. This one doesn't need any further explanation. This is general continuation, but even then, I mean, if you wanted to call this backfill, you could. And then same thing over here, obviously, and then same thing over here, obviously, as well. So this has been actually 100% correct over the history of Bitcoin for something like that. So do I think that there's still a possibility of, you know, a quick wick down into the mid $30,000 territory? Yeah, I do. Absolutely. Of course, that's always going to come with the contingency on the other side. So, you know, when we do go back on over here, you know, and kind of nail it down on a daily time frame, I don't think that that's like a topic of conversation for example, as long as we're especially above about 45,500 to 46,000 bucks, let's call it. And then even then, it would just imply another move back down to our current lows. Probably another bounce there, and then, you know, you break 41,000 bucks. Yeah, send it back down. All good. and that actually still be consistent with this chart over here, which is it's so interesting to me because I've gotten so much I've gotten so much shit over the last few days, ever since Bitcoin put in this move over here, because of this chart. And fair enough. I mean, people are entitled to their opinions, obviously, but you also have to realize, like, I made this chart in July, when everyone was super bearish over here, looking for 20,000, 15,000, 10,000. I was calling first a move to 48 or deep 40s. We up there, fair enough, and then probably a move back down somewhere into the mid, maybe even low $30,000 territory. I mean, again, I'm allowed to change my mind after like 3 months, but fair enough. Again, everyone's kind of entitled to their opinions, but just something that I found rather interesting. Like, Krown, you're bearish at $40,000. Well, yeah. But look where I was bearish from, and that's also my style as well. If you are new to this channel, I should warn you, I'm always, based off of my strategy, going to be bullish at the highs. I'm going to be bullish over here, and I'm always going to be bearish off the lows. Except, to be fair, on this flow over here, I actually did say that it was extremely likely to get a bear trap, which we did get, but usually I will be very, very bearish at the lows. For example, way back on over here in February in 2019, I was obviously bearish over here until we actually did get the reversal as well. What I kind of pride myself on, or what I'm more interested in as a trader, is catching the reversals, and typically between about 50 to 70% of the move. If I am going to be trend trading, it's kind of where I'm looking for. For the most part, I'm just range trading anyways, but I do run multiple strategies, obviously, and looking at this one over here, where did I get bearish? I got bearish right here on the lower high. That's essentially all that I need to see. Again, where did I get bearish over here? On the lower high as well, and obviously we had a lower low before that, so that was your confirmed reversal, and in rather simple stuff. Anyways, as far as that goes, fair enough. Feel free to tear me apart. It's going to happen in the future as well, so if that obviously bothers you, then fair enough, fair enough, right? All right, cool. So what else do I want to talk about while we're here? All right, yeah. Should I show my testnet account? We can do that. Sure. That's actually thinking about putting on position right here. I actually want to be buying a little bit of vol in late October. Actually, I will do this right now. So, yeah. Yes, I do intend to put that order. Thank you very much. What are my deltas looking like right now? So 15 deltas long. Obviously, my put spread that I bought like a week and a half ago is. It's probably just marks right now. Actually, it's actually giving me a profit, but that will probably be a loss at the end of the day, which is fine. That is okay. But more importantly, I do have long deltas, and I feel quite confident holding these long deltas, especially coming into the end of this month. Remember, there's a lot of ETFs being decided on. Actually, can't even see. Sorry about that. Out of here. There we go. That's my positions right there. Nice and simple. Nice and simple. If you're familiar with options, yes. Basically, I have a 40-35 put spread on, expiring 15th of October, and then I have the 60-68 call spread. Or actually, no, I'm not even spread right there. I'm just long, and I still am holding like a short 16,000 put strike, which I shorted like all the fucking puts like a couple months ago in July. So fair enough. And of course, I'm also holding a spot long as well still. Anyways, all right, sweet. So let me put my stupid face back on and get down into it. So yes, remember at the end of this month, a lot of the ETFs will be potentially decided on. It's kind of like the earliest date that they would be expected to be decided on. And well, what happens in between now and then, who knows? Again, that's why I have my ranges kind of set out over here. I know my biases, if and when, those ranges get taken out, but, around the end of the month, if any sort of a ETF gets announced, I don't care if it's fucking futures settled, or if it's cash settled, or if it's spot underlined, which probably won't be. I'm gonna be pretty fucking bullish. And again, that kind of does play into the quarterly analysis over here. Look, based off of the way that we closed in September, I am looking for new all-time highs before end of year. Very, very likely. So let's actually talk about a few things. Is this my other chart over here? No. Get to my fundamental chart. There we go. And let me also bring in, should we talk about the long-term analysis chart as well? And we could talk about those targets perhaps. Yeah, we can do that. Actually, this would be rather interesting here too. Okay, so we do obviously have a weekly close coming up. This is rather profound, in fact. and does align with a more immediate bullish scenario, obviously, when we look at the Bitcoin log curve zones, right? And you can just, briefly understand or very readily understand this, I imagine, just by looking at the color zones. Nice and simple. Green, good. That's your accumulation. Yellow is kind of like your intra-cycle consolidation, if you will. And then red areas, typically, your tops in this case. And what do we see over here? Well, Bitcoin obviously accumulated in the green zone for, multiple years. Put its way into the yellow zone over here. It's been consolidated in there ever since. Rejected the green zone, of course. And well, as long as Bitcoin's doing that, the more likely thing to be doing is heading back up north of $60,000 actually. And of course, where's the top side of the red zone? That's at about $130,000 as well, which does align with several other sort of projections for maybe the end of this cycle, somewhere between about 110 and 130. Kind of what I'm looking for, maybe early 2022. I don't necessarily have like a time frame for that, but things look more or less fine right now. All right, cool. Is there anything else that I want to talk about here as well? Yeah, we can talk about the Bitcoin stock to flow rainbow indicator. Another thing that is obviously long-term bullish here, and I do want to reiterate, I was also calling major lows within this region, to be fair as well. So fair enough on that. But the green zone on this one has also been kind of correlated with, well, your mid-cycle, if you will, or just some sort of last consolidation before the last melt-up move. Similar to what we saw back on over here in August of 2017. Bitcoin was at about $5,000. The rest was history. I mean, that went to $20,000 just a few months later, like really fucking good right there. Same thing over here, coming out of the yellow zone, boom, boom, boom. We go green right here. The consolidation is resolved and just massive move to the upside as well. By the way, this from green area to next high, about 500%. On this one as well, from green area to next high. Sorry, I didn't get that actually right. Let's get the actual green area. Yeah. Green area to next high, about 450%, rather comparable to each other. And then, of course, coming out of this area over here, out of curiosity, what would that look like? 300% puts you at, more than 300% puts you at 135,000. 500% would actually put you much deeper than that. Just interesting. Not necessarily saying that that's a projection right here, but it is interesting nonetheless. Again, 2 iterations. This does not make a trend, obviously. So let's put that back off. Let's put this back on, and let's go over here, right? So this was another reason why I did upload a video. I think it was like 2-3 weeks ago now. Sorry, no, it wasn't 2-3 weeks ago. This was in early August. Speaking about it at length before, but we actually got it confirmed in early August with the blue buy signature on, of course, the monthly, sorry, not the monthly, but the hash rate indicator right here. And we did a statistical analysis on this one as well. Meaning, and what we found is that anytime that you print a blue buy signal on your higher term timeframes, you never get any closing lows below that ever again in the macro cycle. Actually, all 17 iterations except for one, that being this one over here. That was right before, of course, November, or sorry, not November, but March 2020, coronavirus sometimes, the old flu dump. You want to call it that because YouTube doesn't like it. It doesn't like when you say the C word, both C words, by the way. But other than that, anytime that you put in one of these blue vertical lines, which is just my way of kind of representing it against the blue buy signature. Bitcoin sometimes got in wicks below, which we can definitely do, but no closures on higher term timeframes below, which is good. You can back to this all you want, and what we also found is that on average, the next low on the daily specifically, typically comes within about 7% of the prior daily low before the blue buy signature was printed. So in this case right here, that was about $38,000. Let's see, how close did we get there? Not bad, huh? Not fucking bad. Again, when it comes to analysis, you can't just look at technicals. You also have to look at, you also have to look at this sort of stuff over here, which would be more on the quant and sort of, I guess, fundamental side as well. But looking at this right here, that was a pretty damn good sign. Now, again, could we get a wick below? Yeah, we could do that, something like that. It's completely fine, but no closures below. So if Bitcoin is going to do something like come back down below $40,000, I imagine it'd probably look something like this. So dare I do another one of these things that can be used against me? Yeah, fuck it, man. Because who cares? I mean, people are going to use this against me. Well, that's their problem, not mine. But I'd be looking at something like this, right? Where we come up here, we put in a high right around $50,000, come down, another bounce, boom, bounce right there, something like that. Let me get some more space over here, and then probably get like just nasty wick down. Okay, maybe not that nasty. Hold on. I think that at most it'd probably come back down and fill around the CME gap. Let's actually do this on CME right here. Yeah. Oh motherfucker, this chart's all dirty. But basically something like this. Boom. Down to the 5. Boom. Come there. Maybe a quick wick down and then big up. Something like that. And if that happens around end of month, especially if it fills the CME gap from late July, actually, alongside of like an ETF getting announced, that would be fucking textbook, and that would be really, really obvious. And that would also fulfill many other things as well, of which, if we go over here, that would be a test down to the 55 on the weekly. You'll see the monthly 21 get tested in that region as well. And of course, that would fulfill your back test, if you recall, on the last quarterly open. So I do think that that's still likely, or it's not necessarily likely, but it's still a possibility. And then you can kind of like see where the areas of action kind of change around there. Until then, above $50,000 is, it's basically probably just going to melt up again. Probably going to see like 57, 58,000 bucks after that. And while it probably spends a little bit of time going sideways there, and there will be pullbacks along the way. Obviously, I don't see any reason why I wouldn't go for new all-time highs. Probably even around end of the month, maybe early November as well. So a lot of things to prepare for right here, and 30 minutes into this video at this point in time. Do I want to go over anything else? Yeah, let's go over Bitcoin. I do think that this is relevant right now, especially. Put it on a weekly. Interesting. Is kind of coming down a little bit right there. However, I do still think that this one does come into the mid 40s. Again, regardless of whether you're bullish or bearish on Bitcoin, this does seem to be a Bitcoin-led move. If you're bearish, obviously, well, that's actually not relevant. I was going to make a point that I immediately disagree with. Overall, the trend is down here, obviously. And again, when it comes to Bitcoin dominance, I'm not a humongous fan of this metric to begin with. Just, it's very bastardized, but it does give us kind of a general idea of where we are as far as alts go. And typically speaking, we want to see Bitcoin lead the moves to the upside if it's going to be like a sustained macro move. And well, anytime Bitcoin comes to the downside, typically alts come with it anyways. So that is, rather telling right now, and would be considered a good thing right now as well. What else was I going to look at here? Total. Yeah, I want to look at total market cap, actually. See where we're at right here as well. Okay, monthly, same thing. Monthly actually looks a little more strong on this one, obviously. Let's see, quarterly. Quarterly looks, wow, actually, I'm glad that I looked at this right here. This is very obviously bullish. Again, I'd be calling new all-time highs on this market with minimal doubt in my mind before end of year. But, could we get a backfill at about 1.5 trillion? Yeah, definitely possible. Definitely possible. Weekly looks really, really good for right now. Absolutely. Daily, a little bit less inspiring right here. Still working on a lower high. Kind of hard to be super bullish on this one as long as you're below about 2.25 billion right here. The old fucking lines, man. The old fucking lines on the chart. Despise them, man. I'm starting to despise them. Anyways, like everyone fucking does it nowadays. And so it's like, and my lines told me that the price action is going to go up. That doesn't really actually work. What works if you're going to be like the put line on chart type of trader is, playing ranges and scalps and bounces and whatnot. I can't really call a trend from a line. And this is not to be confused with price action trading. I actually have a humongous amount of respect for that. That is a completely different thing. Talking about like the new fucking, it seems like everyone just does that nowadays. And fair enough. If you're successful with it, don't let me fucking dissuade you. Okay, cool. We're 33 minutes into this bitch. Should we shut it off? Maybe so. Maybe I've spoken a little bit right here. Yeah, just kind of repping this one up. Bitcoin. Actually, I haven't checked this over here. I haven't checked this. Go to pretty damn good. Oh, and that's right. I did forget to speak about a 5-day over here as well. That one just closing last night. That's not at least short-term bearish, obviously. Do we have potential hidden bullish evidence formulating here too? No, we don't. Or actually, hold on, one more. Potentially, yes, actually. No. Sorry. My eyes deceive me. No, it is, that is not true. Still, nonetheless, this is this is a short-term and medium-term good setup. I'd really only be concerned about Bitcoin if if you reject from 50,000 bucks and start to range a little bit more within this region for the next week, and then at that point I'd probably be sounding the horns again for potentially a nice downside move. And again, remember over here, if we go back to our leverage ratios, I can't underscore how important enough this is. Flows, fucking baby, fucking flows. It ain't too far. We really want to see, on a macro move that's getting started, we really want to see it come from very low levels. You can see the last two major accumulations that we got before getting this data or mining this data, happened when leverage ratios were about 0.1%. That is right here on the month-long consolidation between 40 and 30, and right here on the 3-month-long consolidation between about the same area as well. That is also a little bit worrying to me, but again, not actionable right now. Just on the mind's eye, as we say. So I think that's pretty much it for today. I'm actually gonna have an interview with Mr. Jason Pizzino, or we'll just shoot the shit. I mean, interview sounds so formal, doesn't it? If I had to call Bitcoin right now, it probably does give another move to the downside of the range, 47 or so. Don't necessarily have a proclivity as to whether it breaks or not. It's kind of all about CME right now. Where's price action when CME opens? And by the way, with Bitcoin below 48, there will be no hidden bullish evidence right here, and probably does play out a move down to 46.5 or so. Again, that's completely fine. Just want to see a nice little bounce solo right there. So hopefully that was helpful, and take care. Until next time. See you soon.